Hello back and welcome to another Mr. Roadmap video. You may be wondering, what am I looking at? This map, it has colors. There's colors on this. Not only is there colors, but this isn't a modern map. This looks like the World War I map, and you would be right. So today, instead of doing the normal mapping video, I'm starting a new series called What If? Premise of this series is basically like, what if um, different historical scenarios happen differently? It's like alternate history stuff. Um, I want to say a big disclaimer right now. Um, this isn't going to be very realistic. Um, most most of my knowledge about today's topic isn't very up to date. I didn't really like do any deep dives. I didn't really see like where anyone is like or like how anyone is doing at this point in time. So you're gonna have to take this all with a grain of salt. This is gonna be more like a fun, like goofy idea little scenario, not like very realistic. But yeah, uh, on to the point. If you saw today's or the video's title, you're gonna be like, oh, you're gonna be probably be wondering, oh, what's the Zimmerman Telegraph? What if Britain didn't intercept the Zimmerman Telegraph? And what if, and by extension, what if Mexico agreed to it? So for those of you who don't know, the Zimmerman telegraph was a telegraph sent uh, by Germany to Mexico that said, "Hey, if you declare war, or if you join this big war on the side of our team with us, and help us invade the U.S., you can keep or you can and if you invade them well enough, you can like keep uh, you can get a bunch of your old territory back." In our timeline, Britain intercepted this telegram and then sent it to America, and America got pissed, and they joined into World War I on the side of the Allies. Or in today's video, we're gonna see what if German or the British did not intercept it, and by extent, and what if Mexico accepted the telegram. So first, we're gonna look at this big raging war over here in Europe. It is currently January 17th, 1917, the day the Zimmerman telegraph was sent over to Mexico. But yeah, currently at this point in the war, Germany is doing kind of well. Uh, they have is kind of like successfully gone around Belgium and invaded France. They're like maybe like 100 miles outside France or Paris, I don't know. And in the east, they are absolutely kicking Russian ass. Austria-Hungary, they're not doing so good. They've lost a little land to Russia at this point, and a little bit to Italy. So yeah, that is Europe at this point in the war. Oh yeah, well, Austria-Hungary also has all of this. I'm not sure if they invaded Romania. They might have. I'm not sure. Once again, this isn't very historically accurate, so fact check me in the comments. Oh yeah, also, if you have an interesting point to make saying like, oh, this could not have happened, please say that in the comments. I like knowing history. I love history. So if you have any corrections, make them down in the comments below. So yeah, over here, the Ottomans, they are not doing so good. They're not doing so good. Russia is kind of like invading them a little bit. They are also getting like a little bit invaded by the Allies, and the Allies don't really have like a specific color because it's basically like Britain, France, and a bunch of other people. So that their invading color is going to be blue for now. Ottomans are also invading Iran a little bit and the Sinai Peninsula. I got most of this information from a mapping video on YouTube where it's like one of those World War One day by day, one of those videos. So yeah, this is where I'm getting most of my information on mapping. So yeah, anyway, on with the video. Germany, they send the telegraph over to Mexico. President of Mexico, don't know his name, says, you know what? Screw it. Yeah, we'll join this war, and they declare war on America. And America doesn't see this coming, so they're like, huh, what's all this about? Um, but yeah, since America's caught a little bit off guard, Mexico is able to like kind of like invade them a little bit. They're kind of able to do this into Arizona, also because like there's nothing here, especially in 1917. There's really like no big cities. To my knowledge, America doesn't have troops on the border of Mexico because I don't think we were like planning on going into Mexico. So yeah, but yeah, they're basically just invading the desert of Arizona. But yeah, they start making some good advances. The U.S. is caught off guard by this. Um, but yeah, Mexico makes some advances into New Mexico, Arizona, Texas even. But yeah, they cross the Rio Grande, and this spooks many Americans. They're like, "What the hell? What's going on? Why are the Mexicans invading us? What the shit? What's going on?" But yeah, they basically invade all this. They even go over and they even like invade into California, take the Salton Sea, and take San Diego. But yeah, so yeah, that's that's Mexico's invasion a little bit. Yeah, America's caught off guard by this. At this point in time, I think America was selling like weapons and stuff to, or at least if not weapons, then like other like food and supplies to the Allies. And now that they're kind of have their own war on their hands down here in Mexico, they can't really like send any more stuff to their allies up there, and they also need, or they're also going to focus a large amount of their troops down in Mexico. So they're not going to send many troops over to Europe, which is a big win for Germany because at this point in the war, both teams were, or both sides, they were like, their soldiers were like very, very like tired and like dreary and such. Um, so in our timeline, America, even though they did come in like very late into the war, they like joined 1917. Um, they didn't like, even though they didn't like do much in the war, they like kind of tipped the scale. So like imagine like two arm wrestlers who are like equal match. They can't their arm wrestling match has been like going on forever, like with like little movements here and there, and then America's comes in and tips the scale and basically allows the Allies to win. But in this timeline, since America's getting tied up with this little war down in Mexico, they can't. They're not really able to tip the scales, which is a good thing for Germany. As we can see here, Germany is going to continue their invasion of France because there's not a lot of troops, new coming troops, uh, in here into France. They're not like helping them out a bunch. And also, now that Germany is able to like do this, the French troops, they're tired of war at this point. It's been like 3 years of fighting. Um, the conditions are shitty, as you can expect during wartime. They just want to go home. They don't want to keep fighting. They're out of food. So what we see is a bunch of uh, French troops starting to mutiny all across like the French lines. Um, this is gonna be like in March or maybe April of 1917. But yeah, bunch of French troops start mutinying, which is great for Germany, as and they start to like push into France. They get like really close to like Paris, which is not good for France. They also like wipe out the Netherlands, and then they say, you know what, screw it, and invade the Netherlands. Wait, no, that's Belgium. That's the Netherlands. Oopsie poopsie. But yeah, they invade the Netherlands, and they're like, ooh, yay. They take Amsterdam, and basically the Netherlands fall. Britain can't really do anything. They're kind of focused on keeping France alive. But that doesn't really work since oopsie poopsie, Paris is captured and France surrenders. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. So yeah, France is now out of the war. I'm gonna keep like this colored in until for the rest of the video, until like the final peace treaty. But yeah, France pulls out of the war. They're like, we can't do this shit anymore, dude. Um, but yeah, France is now out of the war, which is great news for Germany, because now Germany is free to do whatever they want. And what that means is they can continue invading Russia more. And now with a huge amount of new troop surplus from the Western Front moving to the Eastern Front, the Russians are in for a really bad time. By a really bad time, I mean they get sucker punched. Like the Germans, they go up into like the Baltic areas. They're like, ha ha ha, you silly Russians. We're taking all of your land. What are you going to do, you silly Russians? But yeah, even Austria-Hungary, they are able to push the Russians out of their country. And if you know anything about Austria-Hungary in World War One, you know that Austria-Hungary kind of were they were like incompetent over here. So yeah, Austria-Hungary is like, ha ha, ho ho ho, you silly Russians. I don't know how to do an Austrian accent. I'm just doing a German accent, but like deeper, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the Austrians, they're like, ooh, yay, hip, yippee, yippee. I'm not sure if they. Once again, I'm not sure if Romania at this point was invaded or was being invaded by the Austrians. So whatever. But yeah, and because of like relaxed, um, or like not as much pressure to like protect homeland over here, the Austrians are gonna be like, ho ho ho, get out of here, you silly Italians. But yeah, Italy sees the writing on the wall. They see that Germany and Austria-Hungary are kind of stronger than them. And with Austria-Hungary pushing into here, Italy is going to do the classic Italy move and be like, Peter, just kidding, guys. We don't want to, we don't want to fight against you anymore. We switched to your side. But yeah, this is like kind of World War One is like where the Italian switching sides meme comes from, because like before World War One, Italy was kind of aligned with Austria and Germany, and then when World War One actually broke out, they switched sides to the Allies, and the Central Powers like, what the fuck, bro? But yeah, now that they're kind of being invaded a little bit, Italy's like, whoa, 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 we don't want this anymore. We'll switch to your side. So yeah, Italy, they switch to their side, and does a classic Italy move. And now Britain is the only European country still in this war, kind of. But yeah, because America is still tied up over there. So yeah, we start to see. Let's continue with the Eastern Front over here. Um, Germany, they go over and capture these islands. They start to push deeper into Russian territory in the Baltics, nearing like St. Petersburg. They push deeper and deeper in. Um, and at this point in 1917, I don't think the Soviet or the Russian Revolution happened. I don't think it might have. They might be struggling with that right now. But yeah, also, because of like all this like turmoil in Russia, the Finns are going to revolt from the Russians. Yeah, if you don't know, Finland, as you can see, was like this, and then in our timeline after World War II or World War One ended, Finland got its freedom. But yeah, but since Russia hasn't pulled out yet, um, insert funny joke here. They can Finns are like, hey, we don't want this. We don't want to be under Russian occupation anymore, and they revolt. They do a little revolting up in here, which spells disaster for Russia, as like a lot of other shit's going down. So yeah, not good for them. Yeah, the Finns they continue up into here. Uh, revolt, revolt, revolt. until the Russians can't really take it anymore, and they're like, fine. But the Finns are like, no, 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 you're oppressing us. We don't want this to happen anymore. And they continue fighting. Eventually, they cut off Russia from Karelia. No, no, wait, no, the Kola. I think this is the Kola Peninsula. Yes, it is the Kola Peninsula. I know my geography sometimes. Yay. But yeah, the Finns, they're like, uh, boo-hoo, Russia. We want our independence since you took it from us a long, long while ago. So yeah, they basically, um, take all this, even Kola Peninsula. Russia is like, no. But yeah, because of this, let's look back into here, back into or let's look at the Ottomans. They are able to like push the Russians out of their country a bit more, because Russia is like reallocating troops from here to over here to stop, the Germans from getting so close to like their biggest city and I think capital at this point. But yeah, so because of that, Turk or the Ottomans push Russia out of uh, their country and eventually begin to invade Iran, which I'm not too familiar with the front lines of the Middle East. Um, you history buffs who are watching this are gonna have to, um, once again, comment down below what the hell was going on down here, because once again, I got all of my information about this area from one of those day by day videos. So yeah. But anyways, I digress. And the Ottomans, they begin to invade uh, the Caucasian areas. Yeah, sorry. They begin to invade the Caucasian area of Russia, which isn't good for them. Also, yeah, I kind of know that the Ottomans kind of like sucky in our timeline, but like whatever. Um, Also, let's look down here. Um, as you remember earlier, I said that France kind of like surrendered. Um, but Britain is still in the war. No formal peace treaty has been signed with Britain. So yeah. So Britain is still doing Britain things and continuing to invade the the Ottomans uh, through like through like their colony in Kuwait. So yeah, the Ottomans they're like, uh-oh, British are coming. Um, so they kind of like reallocate some troops and set up like a little front line over here, and eventually like they can't invade anymore. But yeah, that's gonna be 1917 all right there. So basically 1917, like March-ish, these guys or Germany uh, invades a bunch of France and France surrenders. Um, February through let's say May, um, the Mexicans are like all going in here, like or yeah, and it's been like a stalemate since May. Um, and then from like January to say say August, Turkey has been, or no, sorry, the Ottomans have been doing all this, and from January to let's say August, the Germans have been doing this. So we're about halfway through 1917 right now, and let's take another look at what's going on in America at the moment. So, Mexicans, they're doing a little. They're starting with American troops starting to arrive at the front lines. They're kind of slowing down a little. Um, they are able to capture like more of Arizona and such, like all this desert land over here, like in New Mexico and Arizona. Um, they also are able to capture some of like Southern California, like where Huntington Beach is, like Long Beach and all that, which is still like I'm not sure how populated it was back then. I don't think it was that populated because if you look at old pictures of Huntington Beach, it was basically just like oil wells. So I don't think many people live down here yet. But yeah, anyway, over here in Texas is a different story because Texas being Texas, America American troops come in and like push the Mexicans out of Texas. Like, ooh, boo, Mexicans, get out of here. Um, don't don't clip that, please. Uh, don't take that out of context. But yeah, the Americans, they push into Mexico. They push like down the coast a little. But yeah. Also, at this point in time, the cartels aren't a problem like at all. They don't exist yet, I don't think. I think come that late, like later down the line. But yeah, anyway. Um, so yeah, the Americans they cross the Rio Grande through Texas and they begin their invading Mexico. They are they also land a little bit of people down here in the Yucatan Peninsula. So yeah. Also, you may be asking how are they doing this good over here and over here, but absolutely sucking balls over here? And to that I say, let's take a little look at Europe again. So, Italy, since they, you know, switch sides, they kind of get their land back a little. But yeah, um, and also because they switched sides, they're now fighting the British. And you know where the British are? They're down here in Egypt. So Italy is going to send some troops down here in Egypt and take the coastline, get a bit close to Giza, which the British don't entirely like. The Ottomans are gonna be like, oh, hi there. And then they get like stopped at the Suez Canal, which I think is about here. Actually, no. Yeah, I think it's like more there. So yeah, the Ottomans they kick the British out of there and get up to the Suez Canal. And I think that's gonna be the end of 1917. Um, so yeah, now it is January 1918. Let's see. Germany begins to bulk up their military. Um, or no, not the military, their navy, to prepare, like, I don't know, a naval battle against Britain and such. But yeah, um, Britain is still holding on in this war because they don't entirely want to leave it, even though their best pal France is out, so I guess they don't really have an incentive to keep fighting Germany. Like, they can't really, like, do anything in France because France is out. I mean, I guess they could kind of land a naval invasion, but but I don't know. I don't know. I think they're just gonna keep fighting in Africa and such. It's gonna become a colony war. But yeah. Let's say in 1918, the Ottomans finally are able to push or like cross the Suez and go into Egypt, and they meet up with the Italians and the Italians are like, "Hey, dudes, how's this desert going for you?" And they're like, "Oh, it's cool. We like the desert." The Italians are like, "Oh, you do like the desert." Well, we don't entirely like the desert, but whatever. But yeah, so that's kind of how it goes. Yeah. Ottomans over here, like, eh. But yeah, now that Britain no longer is controls the Suez, they can't really get troops to go from here and then go all the way down here, and then go over here, and then, invade over here. Which, if you want to continue invasion of the Ottoman Empire, uh, you can kind of need access to go over here. But yeah, Ottomans, they're like, haha, L losers, and they push the British out of there, and then keep going, and then kick the British out of Kuwait. I just remembered something. The Ottomans were called the sick man of Europe, so I'm not sure how, realistic these gains are, but whatever. Yeah. Anyways, German or Austria-Hungary and Germany are going to be making some gains. The Austrians are going to go here. They're going to be like, wowee, we're actually doing something. The Germans are going to be like, the Germans are going to be like, oh, hi, St. Petersburg, how's it going? And the Russians are going to be like, ah! But yeah, Germans are gonna also be like, whoop whoop whoop, free land over here. Um, and I think at this point in the war, let's say it's March now. Um, March 8th. it might have been third actually. It was either March 8th or 3rd, where the Soviets are now in charge, and they're like, you know what? Screw this. We don't want to fight anymore. You guys have fun. So Germany is like, oh, hell yeah. We basically won in Europe. British are like, oh, hell no, because now, their allies gone. But yeah, so the Russians they pull out of the war, and now Germany is basically fighting no one. Um, but yeah, anyway, let's take a little look see at what is happening currently in Mexico and the U.S. So the U.S. They start pushing Mexico out of Arizona and New Mexico. They kicked them out of the Salton Sea. I think they had Phoenix. Maybe I'm not even sure if Phoenix was a thing at this time. Might have been, but they kicked them out of Phoenix and eventually kicked them out of uh, uh, the U.S. And now the fun begins. So the U.S. they cross over the border and instantly they cut off Baja from the rest of Mexico. But yeah, and then the U.S. troops they start a campaign down Baja and just like wreck up the place and invade and stuff. They take these islands. I'm not sure what importance these islands have, but eventually all of Baja California is taken. So yeah, and then they continue down this coast over here, like ooh yay, ooh yay, ooh yay. How let's freaking go! A bunch of new land. Well, no, they're like ooh yay, ooh yay, ooh yay. Look, we're kind of winning right now. Suck it, Mexico. Over here on the Texan front, they push down more, and like ooh yay, ooh yay, ooh yay. This is so easy. And then over here, like ooh yay, ooh yay, ooh yay. This is fun. We like this down here. But yeah, this whole like campaign is taking like a few like maybe this takes like 3 months to achieve. It's maybe like June now. Yeah, let's say it's June 1918. But yeah, bam, bam, bam. Look at all this cool stuff. But yeah, now that the U.S. basically is like kicking Mexico's ass, they can start focusing more on the Germans over here. These guys, ooh, scary. The Germans, they don't really want this smoke. So they're going to send their big dreadnought fleet. They're going to go around or through the British Canal and smoke a bunch of ships of British ships. They're gonna go all the way across the Atlantic. And they're like, oh yay! And then they're gonna have a little fight over here, a little spat, if you will, with the American dreadnoughts. And they're gonna go over here into the Hudson Bay and just start bombarding New York. Once again, reality is not something that is happening here. It's not really realistic. I don't think the Germans were able or had the capacity to blow up a bunch of British ships, go sail across the Atlantic, and bombard New York. But in this timeline, let's say it happens. They bombard New York. America's like, yo, dog, was that necessary? Germany was like, yeah, that was necessary. And America was like, okay, you know what? I think I think we're I think we're good here. I don't entirely want to continue this war. Germany's like, yeah, sure, let's not continue this war. That's basically gonna be it. Except the U.S. they like invade a bit more Mexico because they want more land. But yeah. So yeah. Let's say November. Screw it. Actually no. Say Okay, so on August 7th, 1918, the war is over. The U.S., Britain, Germany, Italy, um, uh, Austria-Hungary, and Ottomans and Russia, they all sit down. They have their own Treaty of Versailles, except for instead of it being in Versailles, it's gonna be in Stuttgart. Yeah, it's gonna be the Treaty of Stuttgart. So yeah, let's take a little look-see at this peace treaty. Okay, so this is the peace treaty. Let's start off in America. America has basically taken like all of the stuff they invaded. Yeah, they basically take all no North Mexico. They take Baja, and they even take the Yucatan down here. But these aren't states yet. They're basically territories. But eventually they will become states. And Mexico kind of has like a puppet government installed in America. But yeah, let's take a look at Africa real quick. As you can see, it's now mostly uh, German and Italian, because France lost the war, or France and Britain were on the losing side of the war. They had to give up a lot of their colonies in Africa. France basically lost all of them except for Madagascar. They were given to Germany. Um, and then Italy got a lot of North Africa. Let's look down here on the Ottomans. The Ottomans, they control the Suez Canal. They basically took a bunch, kept all of what they invaded. So yeah, they took like all this stuff in Egypt. They took all like this stuff in Iran and Russia. Over here, um, Austria-Hungary, they basically kept their spoils. I kind of forgot that Austria-Hungary was like invading down here, but whatever. They basically take half Serbia and a bit of Albania. Yeah, they also take kind of like some of the stuff like they invaded of Russia. Um, and now we get to see big Germany. So yeah, Germany is really freaking big now. Um, it stretches from like basically like outside, just outside of Paris to basically just outside of St. Petersburg, which is really freaking huge. Now, would they be this large IRL or in realistically? Probably not, no. They would probably expand to like there realistically, and then all of this would be like a puppet government. But the sake for this of this video, it's like that. So yeah. Oh yeah. Also, Finland uh, is this now, and at this point in time, Russia is communist. But yeah. So that is what if Britain didn't intercept the Zimmerman telegraph or telegram, and subsequently, what if Mexico accepted it? Yeah, that's gonna do it all. That's gonna be all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. If you want more videos like this one, or what if videos, like, comment, and subscribe, honestly. I'm trying to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think we can do that. But yeah, hope you like this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!